it's hard to understand why we have all those granularities and when we should use them. I think that it depends mainly if you want to have the metric to monitor something in real time, let's say, or if you want to monitor something in big periods of time. Like if you have a metric that we send every 5 minutes, then that means that we are going to get the total sessions during the last 5 minutes, and we are going to send 1 point with that data. So if you want to monitor something in real time, like you want to monitor the crashes in real time, the sessions, the network calls, or whatever, you should use those kind of metrics because you are going to get the amounts or the total of the session, the total of the caches every 5 minutes. So you will have data to see how the application is currently behaving. And about the 1 day metric, it's the same, like it follows the same pattern. We are going to send 1 point every 1 day with the total of the last 1 day. For example, we are going to send the total of the session during the last way, and that will represent a data point in your data estimation tool. The good thing about that metric is that, as you know, in mobile, we have the problem that we receive data in the moment that the cell phone has connection. Like something can happen now, but if for some reason the cell phone doesn't have connection right now, we are going to receive the data in some moment in the future. So with the daily metric, we try to solve that issue that you can have with the 5 minutes metric. So in the daily metric, you should see that delay data that you are going to send when the customer when the people that is using the cell phone has connection. So those are the main two difference, I think. Also, I think that another point to take into consideration is that, as I mentioned, in the 5 minutes, we are going to send 1 point every 5 minutes. So in 1 hour, we are going to send 12 points. And if you start adding dimensions, you are going to have much more points. So the cardinality that we are going to send is much more higher than 1 point every 1 day. So also, if you are worried about the cost that can cause this solution on your data destination on Grafana Cloud, Datadog, or others, I think that the daily metrics are a good solution because we are going to send less data points, which means less cardinality, which means less cost. So if you are a company that you want to test this product, but also you don't want to spend a lot of money on this product, or you don't want to invest a lot of money on this, makes sense to start testing at least with the daily metric. And also it's related to the point that Scott mentioned before, in which Datadog is really expensive if you send a metric that has a high cardinality. So in that case, if you are worried about that, maybe you can try with less cardinality, less group buys, but also you can try with less points.
Yeah, I think, in general, the smaller the time unit, the more often or the higher the frequency you're getting data, it's probably because you want to be incredibly reactive. And so the two, how quickly do you need to act should be tied to how fast or how many iterations do you need the data. And so for something like a 5-minute metric, you should really only be getting 5-minute metrics if you intend to, let's say, alert on it because you're worried about a backend problem, right? Because you're not going to push out a new app version in 10 minutes, at least not one that's going to get wide adoption. And so maybe for something like network requests, you want to look at, a massive spike in 422s or massive slowdown in your spans, your network requests, like how long they're taking. because then you can immediately go to your backend team and say, hey guys, it looks like this endpoint is really struggling. Now, obviously, if you have a backend observability system, your site reliability engineers are probably already measuring the performance of it, but you may be seeing something different on the client than they're seeing on the backend, or maybe you've got a finer set of filters for like a specific user group that gets lost in the noise in the backend. For more general things like how is my latest version doing? Are people crashing more or less often? Those are probably going to be daily or hourly. I would say daily because really you're probably going to look at those maybe once a day, maybe once a week, just to make some sort of decisions on what should we prioritize working on next. Do we need to go out and kind of do some research and bug fixes? Do we need to invest in some new features because this part of the trace seems to be failing a lot? But you're probably not going to get a page in the middle of the night and say, oh, I need to go fix this. Because again, on mobile, you can't do releases as quick as you can on backend.